neck, do pop a cushion underneath your head or support your head with your arm. We've got our heels lined up with our tailbone. We've scooped our abs off the mat. So we're recruiting our obliques, our corset muscles here, okay? And we've got our ankles, knees and hips stacked. Everything stacked up and lined up beautifully for this one. I will just say that if you feel like you're going to fall backwards at any point, maybe you want to angle that top leg forwards and it might allow you to move a bit more. So I'm going to do that. Either with a long arm or a hand behind the head, you cheat less doing this one. Just gently rotate. You might need to stretch the underneath arm. Rotate forwards. Deep breath into that rotation, that twist. Bring it back. And then lean back. This is where you might want to hold onto your head. Deep breath in. And exhale. So your breath pattern is exhale, move. Inhale, hold. Exhale, move. Inhale, hold. And the aim of this is to get some thoracic rotation, which is movement in the rib cage area of the spine. And that deep breath in to that twist should feel really good. And it should feel fine in the low back as long as you're holding your abdominals in. So you're bracing your belly button into your spine, you're lifting your waist off the floor. That feeling of lift and corsetry, that should feel really quite lovely. Sometimes you get some lovely clicks and cracks through this one. You can do this with a long arm, however we do tend to get a few popping shoulders. Not literally, but we're trying to keep that arm on the back. So you're keeping that arm in a straight line with the shoulder. It can help to leave you back a little more. Again, if the low back gives you some trouble, then you need to brace those abs just a little bit more to support that rotation. Okay, so we've warmed up into a rotation. Our next thing is clamshell. So we make sure we do this really well today. Line up the heels with the tailbone again, ankles, knees, hips stacked, still lifting that waist, supporting the head with the underneath arm. Now let's put our hands either on our hip or slightly further back onto your butt, and then you're assessing where this movement's coming from. So rather than just seesawing through this clamshell, engage your glutes, as in squeeze your bum, and check where that movement's coming from. So your butt, your glute muscles are not just one round shape. There are layers of muscle here. So we're making sure and checking which areas the movement's coming from. We're being really particular that we're not just half asleep and mindlessly throwing our body around. We are engaging, actively engaging muscles and supporting that movement. So we're getting into the glute med a little bit there. Nice and easy so far. And moving on. Why did I write my notes so small? So we're doing lift and lower. Keep that waist lifted. Lower the foot, it's straight. However, if we do have some low back issues and you need to do this with a bent leg, a shorter lever is kinder to any hip and low back issues. But otherwise, if you're okay, keep that underneath leg bent. That'll be really supportive for you. Lift the leg in parallel. Only as high as you can keep it in parallel. Flex the foot and squeeze it down. So inhale, pointed toe, flex. So we're getting into those calf muscles. So if you joined me earlier, we were doing rolling a ball, tennis ball, or a rolling pin underneath the foot to release the fascia, the connective tissue under the foot, which connects to the calf muscle, the back of the lower leg, and the hamstring at the back of the upper leg. 2 more. See, I am counting, I promise. And 8. Good, lovely. And next we are into our leg circles. So circling 8 times in one direction. If you want to release that shoulder away from the ear, this really helps. If you need to put your hand down for balance, then do 2, 3. Keep that waist lifted. Keep the hips level. 6, 7, 8. Change direction. Inhale, exhale. Just keep breathing. Every time you exhale, just tighten those abs. Gently. Okay, we've got a slight variation on that clamshell that we did before. Feel free to shake and rub your hips a bit if you're feeling it today. So we're going to open the knees. So we've got that frog's leg position, and then lift that underneath leg. Now, if you sink into the floor, you're going to lose that ab connection. So let's keep the waist lifted, the hips level. If this is too much, come back down to the one we were doing before and repeat that. Otherwise, still assessing where the movement's coming from. You're not rocking and rolling and falling back and falling forwards. You are maintaining your core stability, funnily enough, being that we are doing Pilates. Good, just 3 more of these. 3, 2, keep those abs drawn in. 1, and gently dismount. Ooh, good. So, for balance, we need to angle the legs forwards for side kick. So my legs are about 45 degrees angled forwards. You can bend the underneath leg if you need, but I prefer it forwards, and you'll see why in a moment. Do keep supporting that head and get a cushion if you need. Keep that waist lifted. Don't allow yourself to sink and drop. So keep that waist long on either side. Lift that top leg, only hip height. Imagine that you were gliding your leg across a frozen lake. Sniff, sniff forwards. Pointed toe back. Feel free to get posy with that hand by the head because it allows the shoulder to melt away from the ear. Sniff, sniff forwards. Blow it back. Sniff, sniff forwards. We are going to do everything on the other side, but rather than make you rock and roll and spin around backwards and forwards all the time, we're going to do all of these on one side and then all on the other. Notice how I'm trying not to move the pelvis. I'm keeping it really steady and the movement is isolated in that hip joint. Well done. And 8, sniff, sniff forwards, blow it back. Hopefully that felt really lovely, smooth and gliding. Bend that underneath leg again for stability. Keep that waist lifted. We're going to open that knee again. No, it's not clamshell, you're okay. Bring the knee into the armpit. Do support that leg. Now, wherever it goes is good. Okay, we all have different mobility at the hip here. So we're just going to gently ease that. So just give it a little wobble and a shake, or a wibble. Good. Underneath the leg with the hand, if you can reach, and gently support it. Overhead, ha. You're laughing now, going, yeah, right, Anne. So lift the knee into the armpit, keeping the waist long. Try not to flop and sink. Gives you an unrealistic idea of where your mobility is. So we're just getting a little bit of that open rotation, stretch, extend. If it's over there somewhere and you want to practice this another time, you can always pop a strap or a band around the leg, just to give yourself a bit of support. Exhale, blow it away. Sniff it in, blow it away. Just 2 more. Out through a pursed lip. That will engage your abdominals. Okay, hopefully you're all doing all right, and we're going to try it on the other side. Have a little stretch, a little bit of pandiculation, like just what you see animals do in the wild when they first get up in the morning. Okay, so just before the caffeine kicks in. So we are going to rock and roll that pelvis. There we go. So we're going to do a little rotation. So stacking the pelvis, ribs connected with the hips, hand behind the head. If you want to move a bit more and it feels comfortable, extend that top leg forwards 45 degrees. Rotate, inhale, hold. Exhale, move. Inhale, hold. Exhale, move. Feeling the waist drawing away from the floor. Even length either side of the waist, shoulder melting away from the ear. So put your attention into your abs, not up into your shoulders near your neck. Inhale, hold. You can go slower than me, you don't have to go the same speed. You can do this with a long arm. A longer lever will help you to get more movement, but remember, it's not a shoulder popping exercise. It's a rotation of the spine, that thoracic rib cage area. And the more you do this, the more mobility you will get. Just do it really mindfully. Lovely. So bring that down to a close. Here we go. We're into clamshell. So keep that even lift in the waist, both sides, ankles, knees, hips stacked. The feet are lined up with your tailbone and knees are forwards of the body. Exhale, squeeze in, return. So we're feeling which areas of the butt are working. If there's any clicking, cracking or crunching in that hip area, any discomfort, make it smaller. So move within your safe, comfortable range of motion. And as you strengthen up, your body will allow for a greater range of movement. got to stay within what your body's ready for right now. Don't overdo it. And these ones are always a nice slow burn, aren't they? So stretch that leg out, parallel position, lift, pointed toe, flex, lower. Don't be tempted to turn out to get more height, because then the glute med goes to sleep. And the glute med is responsible for helping you to keep your balance, stopping you from falling over when you're going on a nice muddy, slidey walk. So we need this. We need this to support us. Exhale to squeeze it down. Who or what are you squeezing between your thighs is what I love to imagine. Sometimes it helps. For some people it does anyway. Okay, so keep that stretched out, and we're doing our leg circles. So you're drawing a nice even circle, maybe about the size of a 50p piece or a little bit larger if you feel able. 7 and 8, and remember, if the hand's near the head, it sometimes makes it a bit easier to lift the shoulder away from the ear. 5, 6, 7, 8, and lower. Bend the knee. Say sorry to your thighs and hips if you're feeling it already. Okay, so either we're coming back to that clamshell we did before, or we're lifting the heels. We've got that wide frog's leg position. We're still keeping our waist lifted from the floor, and we've got each of these beauties. Where's the movement coming from? You're not popping here. You're trying to keep the focus on the glutes here. Exhale for effort. So wherever you're feeling the effort, exhale through a pursed lip. Smiling sweetly as you do it should help. Sadistic love. Okay, there's your 8. Well done. So bring that back down. Angle the legs forwards, 45 degrees. There we go. I think I've got a new face cream. It's making my eyes water. Mistake. Right. So lift the top leg. These legs are angled forwards, but if you need support, bend the underneath leg. Sniff, sniff forwards. Parallel. Gliding across a frozen lake. You don't want to be making little slivers of ice jump up because you've been dipping and bashing the ice with your foot. Flex that foot forwards, sniff it forwards, blow it back. Sniff it forwards, blow it back. Just by doing that out breath, you're tightening your abs against that lever going back. And remember, you can do any of these exercises with the bent leg if you do suffer with low back pain. That should make it more manageable for you. And 8. See, I was keeping count, I promise. Okay, so bend the underneath leg. You're nearly there. Open the knee, clamshell style. Just remembering those lovely glutes you worked earlier. Keep that waist lifted, knee into the armpit, and just give it a little shake here. So if while we're doing this, you just need to stop and give it a little rest, then do scoot the hand underneath if you can reach, and exhale. And blow it away. Good. Sniff it in, exhale, blow it away. That should be a nice stretch. Sniff it in, exhale, blow it away. Sniff it in, exhale. Keep it smooth, gliding. If you need to stop here and then lower, then do, as long as you're feeling a stretch on the underside of the thigh. Don't have to get to that full straight leg. Make it work for you. And last one. Well done. Good, so you'll deserve a little glute stretch after that. But we'll save that for your last exercise. We're going to do some side bend, just to make sure we get into that waist and make it easier for you to breathe today. So, either leg position, you see, you need cross legs, go for a wide straddle stance, or tuck your legs beside you. All the options. Try them, see which works for you. 4th position on the floor, so that leg is tucked behind me and this leg is angled there. So 4th position on the floor there for you dancer types. Or you can just angle that leg forwards. And the reason why I say do this is because it helps to counterbalance you. You're trying to keep both sit bones in the side bend down. So we're not constantly seesawing up and down. And that makes it more about the waist rather than just hopping from one sit bone to the other. So choose your leg position, feel free to vary it. Lift out of those hips. If you really struggle to lift out of the hips, then you may want to do this just seated on the edge of your sofa or chair, but make sure that it's really sturdy. So edge of the sofa is a better one. If you've got room to walk the fingers, Good. Now allow the elbow to come down, lift out of that waist, keep that opposite hip down, deep breath in, relax the shoulder away from the ear, and exhale, coming back up. Here we go. So walking the fingers out, lift out of the waist, exhale over, inhale, hold, that's the most important bit. Oh, it should feel really good. Lovely, delicious stretch. Inhale, lift the arm overhead, float it away from the ear. Good. And over. Inhale, hold. And exhale, release. Let's try the other side. So choose your leg position. You may want to do the same on this side for balance. So try and lift out of that waist. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Breadth across the front and the back. Walking those fingers out. Lift that waist away from the floor. Float the arm up and over. Inhale, hold. Exhale, release. Takes a little bit of strength to get you back up. And walking out. Exhale, over. Inhale, hold, deep breath. Feel the stretch between the ribs. Now, if you have a really tight shoulder neck area, you can do this with the arm down here. That may be more comfortable for you. Lovely. Okay, so after all the hip and glute work we did earlier, we need to do a figure 4 stretch. So you can do this, I'll give you 2 versions, seated, upright, come to face you, crisscross that leg over the top. This can be really hard if you're quite tight in the hip area, so do sit on the edge of your sofa or chair and lean forward so your foot will be flat on the floor, and lean over those legs. And then the kinder version for some is laying on your back. You may need a strap or a band, a scarf would do, maybe to wrap around the back of this supporting leg, just to pull it in. If you end up having to pull, spinning in all directions today, aren't I? If you have to be here to hold on to that leg, it's not ideal, is it? So do get a strap or a scarf or a band involved, and allow the elbows to fall back towards the floor and allow the chest to open. Flex that foot if you like, flex both feet, and you'll really feel that into the glute there. Deep breaths, and then changing sides. So we either crisscross over. Again, I'll remind you, you can be here, strap behind the back of the leg if you need it. Don't add tension to that shoulder area. I'm sure everyone's tight enough here as it is. Or rolling onto your side to come up. You can do this sitting upright, possibly sitting on the edge of the sofa with that foot flat on the floor with a nice straight line, and then leaning forwards. This is a really good one if you're enjoying a box set or series. Then get those hip and glute stretches in. Then